All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today for the open market consultation for the CircularPSP project. This one is hosted by ReLondon. If you haven't heard of us before, I will tell you a little bit more about us. We are recording this session because we'd like the session to go on the website for the project for anyone who missed it or would like to see it in the future. As I've let you know in advance via the emails, essentially, if you're attending this call, you're consenting to yourself being recorded and the recording being put online. We will have time for a Q&A. Please put your questions in the chat box. My colleague Laura will be curating them, and we'll have some time to go over kind of key questions. Any new questions, or I guess you could call critical questions that are very useful, will actually also be included on the FAQ for the on the website for the project. So please do ask away, because we really want to make this as useful as possible to yourselves and to future project partners. The objectives of the presentation and the session today is to understand the scope of the CircularPSP project. I'm just admitting a few people. To understand the scope of the CircularPSP project, to achieve a common understanding of the pre-commercial procurement process, which is what this project is, to consult with potential suppliers of R&D solutions, and to facilitate the establishment of partnerships. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about the CircularPSP project itself and the scope of the project, and then we're going to go into timelines in the procurement and tender process. And then I'll cover next steps, and we'll go on to the Q&A. I will rush a bit. I'll talk fairly quickly through the first few sections before the Q&A, because we're in a pre-tender phase, so there's actually quite a bit of I wouldn't say uncertainty, but there are elements of the specification that have yet to be ironed out. So I'd rather give everybody more time to ask questions than to listen to me speak. And afterwards, we're going to have a quick presentation by our colleagues at Oakdene Hollins, and then we will wrap up. So we hope to wrap up in an hour, although we do have time at the end if needed for a few minutes. I'm Savina Vankova. I'm a senior business advisor at ReLondon, and I will be joined today as well by Georg Vaught at Empirica. Empirica are the project managers for the project, so Georg has a really good overview of all the open market consultations that have been held so far by all the project partners, and he will be able to answer more questions than I might be on the tender process and more of the technical aspects based on the context he has with the other open market consultations. Before I progress to talking a little bit more in detail about the project itself, I just wanted to introduce ReLondon in case you haven't heard of us before. We were founded in London to help public sector organizations connect with innovative small businesses in the circular economy. And since 2017, we've worked with almost 400 exciting, innovative businesses in the circular economy. So we no longer exist to support local authorities alone. We exist to support small businesses in the circular economy and ideally make networks between them. And the way we support businesses specifically is we administer grants, and we try to help small businesses scale and test circular business models. So we've been involved in projects, including but not limited to innovative recycling technologies, refillable packaging systems, and repair services for electricals and fashion, to name just a few. We also have set up and are expanding the circular economy matchmaker, which you can see on the right being flicked through. And essentially, it's a dedicated directory for circular economy businesses that we validate prior to being put up on the matchmaker. And the idea is to scale circular economy solutions by allowing these small businesses to be contacted by local authorities, other large businesses, and investors in the circular economy, so that they can successfully engage in pilots, partnerships, or formal tenders as well. And so I lead us on now to the CircularPSP project itself, and to introduce you to how it's going to work and sorry, let me admit a few more people. So the Circular PSP project is a project involving 8 procurers in 8 countries, representing 55 million citizens. Most of them represent single cities, for example, Helsinki in Finland or Sandefjord in Ireland. And we also have 2 city networks in Sweden and Slovenia, so representing multiple municipalities in Sweden and Slovenia as well. And what we aim to do is accelerate the transition towards circular economy for cities. And this project will represents a nearly 6 million investment in this challenge, and the budget will be spent in 3 phases, which I will talk about a bit later. I anticipate most of you will be familiar with the circular economy, so I won't go through kind of what it entails. But it is worth noting that when most of us think about the circular economy, we think of it in terms of the technical transition from linear to circular. So going from a system where we make, use, and then dispose of products to increasing the value of products via strategies such as reusing, repairing, refurbishing, or so on. So what we call these R strategies. And this is a particularly difficult challenge, and it's arguably a much greater challenge than, for example, the transition to renewables or some of the mobility challenges we face, because it doesn't just require a change in how we use products, but it requires a change in mindset to from buying to maintaining in a certain sense. And so when we think about local authorities, and cities and how they try to implement the circular economy, they have several challenges. They have to think about this change in mindset from, we don't just need to buy products, but we need to think about how to buy fewer products, but then maintain or keep in service products for longer. And they also have to think about the nuts and bolts of putting circular economy projects into practice, because what can differentiate a circular economy, an easy circular economy initiative from a very difficult or nearly impossible circular economy initiative is, other than experience with circular economy, the specific case study, and so on, it really boils down to understanding who your collaborators are, who needs to get involved, and working with your stakeholders effectively. So simultaneously increasing the number of actors you work with, but not increasing them so much that you find it operationally difficult to put in a circular economy initiative. And so if we had to boil down the challenges of transitioning to a circular economy, not necessarily just for cities, but also for businesses as well, we see those challenges as 3 key challenges. You have first the organizational challenge. So many cities and businesses are moving toward wanting to implement circular principles, but they struggle both for internal and external reasons. Internally, perhaps a lack of resource. Externally, a lack of partnerships or knowing who to partner with and how. There's also informational challenges. So many circular economy initiatives have different assessments of what success is, different indicators. Data is also collected on a case-by-case basis, so it's not necessarily large scale or easily transferable. And there's also language challenges. So a lot of circular economy literature might be in English, but many use or case studies might be in other languages, but it's a difficulty in translating from one language to another and being able to share that information. And then finally, there's the operational aspect. How do we boil down a city or an organization that might have a circular economy strategy and has those existing organizational and informational challenges, and how do we make it operationally easy to put in place? So this project, moving on from the circular economy to the procurement principle that this project is based on, this project is what's known as a pre-commercial procurement. It's a mechanism of procurement that's used within Horizon Europe and the World Trade Organization. And essentially what it aims to do is increase the opportunities available to suppliers to help them increase their reach in terms of potential customers for the innovation that they're trying to develop. It allows the development of innovative tools and solutions that might be difficult to do with a single partner. So it's essentially leveraging multiple, the power of multiple procurers or customers at the same time. It also allows for the suppliers or the developers of the solution that comes out of this process to retain intellectual property ownership, despite the involvement of so many potential actors in the development of that tool. Excuse me. So, and we'll talk a bit more in a bit about the timelines and the budget for that. But first, let me talk a little bit about the aim and scope of this competition. Some of you who dialed in a bit later than others may have missed this. I just want to say I'm rushing through these a little bit because, first of all, we're still in the stage of compiling a tender. So this is not, or a tender specification. So what I say here is somewhat subject to change or might seem a bit woolly because we're still putting the specification together. But equally, there will be time for Q&A. So I would really like to offer the audience more time on that Q&A rather than listening to me speak. So for whoever joined late, please do use the chat box to ask any questions that are unclear as I go along. And please forgive my speed. But to go back to what you can expect in the specification, we anticipate that the platform should be applicable to 3 user groups. Again, this is preliminary, so we anticipate that there might be more user groups in this, but these are the starting points of the users that you can expect the platform to cater to. They are circular economy experts, municipal staff, and local businesses. So circular economy experts, or intermediaries, as we call them, are people who work either within municipalities or supporting municipalities to deliver circular economy. So they are very well versed in circular economy, but they might need help in translating that knowledge or actually putting circular economy into practice. And they might be, as I said, experts within municipalities, or perhaps experts like ReLondon who work with municipalities on providing that circular economy knowledge, but are slightly separate from the day-to-day running of cities. The platform should provide support to municipal staff, and this can be any municipal staff who are engaged in circular economy in some way, from the mayor who sets a strategy to somebody in the waste team who might be providing data on waste to evidence circular economy success. And local businesses also need to be part or users of this platform. Don't let local mean small. It can mean any business, large or small, that works with a city or could work with a city in order to develop circular economy. And yeah. In terms of what we envision this platform achieving, this platform should be able to service any department, sector, or value chain. So it should be able to be applicable to textiles, construction, plastics, food, any type of sector, industry that you can think of that a city might be involved in terms of circular economy. As an example, or to help you differentiate, there are many materials exchange platforms for the construction industry, for example, that exist. We are not looking for solutions that are that specific. We want a solution that can be applied to any industry or waste stream. We are also looking for solutions that help large-scale transition. So if you recall the R strategies I talked about, reuse, remanufacture, recycling, etc., we're not interested in a solution that can help us recycle or go from recycling food in London from 2 to 3%. We're interested in large-scale changes, such as moving from 20% clothing recycling to a 80% reduction in clothing consumption overall. So we're looking for large-scale change being implemented with this platform. We're looking for a technology or platform that anyone can pick up regarding a starting point. And what we mean by that is a key user group is the circular economy experts who will be well-versed in circular economy. But how will the platform help users such as somebody in a municipal authority who's never worked with circular economy and has been given this as part of their role? How will they be helped along the journey, and how will they be educated on circular economy? So that is something to bear in mind as well. A key part of this platform is likely to be AI. And the purpose of it is to be able to compile a large amount of circular economy expertise and knowledge from various data sources to be able to give it to users in a digestible and understandable form based on their level of knowledge with the circular economy. However, what we expect is that the AI model or the data or the knowledge that is coming through is relevant and is curated and helpful, rather than just, so to give a ChatGPT example, there's a lot of information on ChatGPT that is actually not correct because of the underlying information or data. So we would like to avoid that with this platform. So another way of thinking about what this platform will and won't be able to provide. So on the one side, we have strategic things that the platform can provide. So a circular economy expert should be able to use this platform to look at local data, local strategies, local policies within a city, and then be able to say, right, these are the targets for circular economy in the city. These are the milestones that'll help us get there. Municipal users should then be able to take on this mission, be able to learn and train from the platform, perhaps find more detailed case studies, and then pick and then refine the targets, for example, picking different R strategies, and then understand from their own perspective on an operational level, this is what we need to achieve. This is how we're going to evaluate the success of the circular economy projects that we're putting into place. Ignore that point on procurement for a second. I just want to make the note. So we have that strategic element of the platform. We have that strategic moving to operational element of the platform, but the platform also needs to be operational in the sense that it will collect data, keep track of indicators, and be able to be used on a day-to-day basis in order to manage circular economy projects. And I'll talk a bit more about workflows in a second. One thing this platform does not need to do is to provide procurement solutions or procurement or the ability to procure. In our focus groups with municipal experts, we noted that there's a range of procurement software out there that does an amazing job in helping procure based on elements of supplier success, social measures of good, such as social value here in the UK, and so on. And so there is a reluctance to make this yet another procurement platform. What this platform should ideally do is integrate with specialized software if possible, specialized procurement software, and be able to inform procurement, but we don't expect that this platform should actually be able to do the procuring. In terms of the, so to provide a bit more context, again, I might be repeating myself a little bit here on some of these, but just to highlight, in terms of some of the innovations we expect this platform to be able to deliver, is to be able to use AI and natural language processing to enable automated translation of content into different languages. We would like a public service platform to be part of this, what is being developed. And we would like training and education as well to be part of this, so tailored circular economy training to be part of this platform. And operationally, the way we envision workflows being supported, so again, moving us from this ability to set a circular economy strategy, but then move us through operations, we anticipate that, for example, once a circular economy expert sets the mission for a city, a whoever or the people who are responsible within a city for implementing circular economy projects should be able to look for relevant use cases somewhere else in the world if they haven't had experience delivering similar projects. They should then be able to use the system to tailor those use cases to their own specific city, and then create a workflow with specific tasks and required training so that they can then accelerate the implementation of those specific circular economy projects that they've chosen to implement in their city. I will share with you what we envision the data informing the platform will be. However, you'll see in giant purple, details to follow. We're still in the process of clarifying as part of the spec, kind of the data inputs and outputs we expect, but just to give you a flavor, in terms of the data we expect the platform to be able to use and digest, we expect web data, so case studies, public information, public statistics, any open data to be able to be used by the platform. But equally, or perhaps more importantly, we also would like the platform to be able to take data from cities, businesses, data that is not necessarily openly available, but very valuable when it is shared or collaborated with in order to help then deliver a circular economy. And finally, we have to kind of wrap up before I go into timelines. When the specification comes out, we will have certain requirements, but what we anticipate is that suppliers will help define the solution. So we actually anticipate a wide range of potential answers to this very challenging problem. So as long as you hit kind of the major requirements of the specification, there's actually a lot of room for innovation, depending on how your company or consortium perceives the need for specific products later on in the market. So this project is a 3-year-long project that kicked off earlier this year in January. And we are in the process of running these open market consultations. It's basically the first step in letting the wide world know that this project exists and that you will be able to tender for it later this year. The tender will open in November and be available from November to January of next year for your submissions. In the meantime, there are several things that you can do to get involved or find more information. One of them is to join a matchmaking platform. So if you were interested in tendering a loan for this project, you're more than welcome to. However, if you would like to form a consortium, that is also possible. And the matchmaking platform on our website, I'll share the link in a second, that should be more than, that should be able to help you form that consortium. And I'll talk a little bit more about the procure survey and the preferred partner interaction in a second. But yes, the tender will officially open in November. So between now and November, please keep an eye on the website. Be aware of the specification coming out later this year between now and then. So once the tender is out, there's 3 phases to the project. So in the first phase, we will bring on 6, we're calling them suppliers, but 6 potential tenders or partners to help design a potential solution, and they will have about 5 months and almost $1 million between them to achieve that. And following that, 4 of those suppliers will then enter phase 2 to do prototype development. That will take slightly longer, about 8 months. And then phase 3 is, excuse me, 2 suppliers being able to work with preferred partners that have signed up to be part of the testing of this service. So testing the prototype, and this will be a nearly a year, so 11-month, but nearly a year-long stage. And after that, suppliers will then be able to take on, to take what they've developed, keep the IP and do with it commercially as they please. So the tender is open to all types of operators, companies, other legal entities. Again, you can participate as a single entity or as a consortium, as you wish. There is, however, a stipulation that 50% of the project R&D activities or the budget, you can think of it, needs to take place in the EU because this is a Horizon project. So you are welcome to make consortia internationally or deliver deliver work internationally, but 50% of it does need to happen in the EU and associated countries. And attending this OMC, for whoever's listening to the recording, attendance in this OMC is not a prerequisite. So this is just, this event just offers the opportunity to ask questions. Submissions must be in English and they will be in electronic form. And I'll leave that there. I'm just conscious of time and I'd like to have time for the Q&A. So I will leave this up for you to read if you see the recording later on. And in terms of next steps, so this is the matchmaking platform that I mentioned. So over on the right, so please log on to that platform, register, and use it to make consortia. What we envision is that the software developers in the room who are lacking circular economy expertise may want to partner with circular economy experts. So we are trying to essentially enable that matchmaking on the platform. The form is fairly simple. It should take about 5 minutes, but please do use it because it's the central point for matchmaking, and we as partners cannot help facilitate that actively. There's still the opportunity to provide feedback on the specification if you are a local authority or a circular economy expert. There is a survey link available on the website, and that should take about 15 minutes. If you're interested in being a preferred partner, which means access to be able to actually test the platform being developed, then please do sign up or state your interest via the email on the right. This is a really exciting opportunity to provide feedback for a platform that has the potential to really drive a lot of change in delivering circular economy for local authorities. So, as promised, I did rush through the content because I wanted to give time for Q&A. So we have 15 minutes for Q&A. Please drop your questions in the chat. My colleague Lara and Georg will be on hand to help answer them. So we'll have 15 minutes for that, and then I will pass over to our colleague Jose Geraldo at Oakdene Hollins to tell you a little bit about how Oakdene Hollins might be able to help you if you are a software developer. So over to Lara and Georg.
Thank you, Sabina. So I'll just give it a few more moments to see if any questions pop up. So far, there was just a question for the matchmaking link, but that has already been provided. So yeah, if anyone wants to put their questions into the chat, I'll give you a few moments for that.
And while we're waiting for any questions, Georg, I'm not sure if you had logged in at that time, but I did pitch you as kind of more of an expert than me because you're involved in so many more of the partners. If there's anything you would like to add that we haven't gone into detail that might be important, please do so.
No, I think it was a great presentation. I know where to save time when it's my turn on Thursday.
Okay, thanks. Oh, we see a few questions rolling in.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to get started with the first one here. So Nitesh is saying, this sounds really valuable, circular economy consultant themselves. Would there be an open chat function on this platform to enable people to learn from each other?
Shall I? Yeah, basically, this is one of the thinkable approaches. I mean, chat has two references. Chat is one in the sense that ChatGPT is used, that this is basically the interface. Yeah, I mean, when we talk about these workflows, when a person who doesn't know much about circularity is supposed to suddenly act in a circular manner, then you can guide him through pages, you can guide him through the chat, you can guide him through whatever means. So this is one open way. I guess the question asks more about networking. Networking should be enabled indeed. Yeah, that with a NLP machine in the background, so that someone from Finland can talk to someone from England. Okay, the Finnish probably can speak English. Let's use another example. Someone from Germany who wants to talk to someone from England, they can exchange without language barrier.
Okay, then we have, I guess, two more administrative questions that I'm gonna choose first here. So one question around who is eligible, EU and associate countries. What countries are associate? Is the UK an example for that?
Yeah. First of all, any country can participate unless you're blocked for whatever reason from WTO. As to who is associated, currently the UK is not associated. Yeah, it's a choice of a certain government. This might change, this might not change, but it matters for you in particular because it determines whether this 50% rule is relevant or not. Yeah. So at the time of publishing the tender or when the tender closes, we will have to decide, we will communicate it. Should the status not change, then UK partners or US partners involved cannot spend more than 50% of the budget. The resources, 50% must be within associated countries. Turkey, for instance, is associated. So are many other states. There's a list on the EU website. We will link to it.
And then there's a question whether the video and the presentation of today's event will be shared with participants.
The video will be shared. Yes, both will be shared on the website within one day. You will receive a link from Sabina and Lara, an email, and everything will be online. There was a question in between, I think.
I wanted to get those more admin questions out of the way first. So yeah, a more content related question around the solution design phase. Will it be possible to also use this time to do user research?
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good question. It depends what you want to do, I would say. Yeah, I mean, there is second phase, which is dedicated to prototype testing. So you basically will be given access through the cities to users, to real users, to test your platform. Yeah? First, there's mockups, and then obviously something live in the second iteration. Before that, it is very hard to organize within a 3-month period. If you have something very targeted and you design it well, then the cities will probably not say no, but bear in mind, this is a competitive procedure. So there are six suppliers coming to us or with whom we will be working. And we cannot send 6 surveys out, let's say, to the staff. It would simply block it up and remove any kind of acceptance for this project, which we will need later on. So this needs to be very well considered and whether it's necessary. I would say, or my suggestion would be, if you know municipal staff and the municipal users, then you are well set up. And I strongly recommend that you get this expertise in for your project. As to then how exactly, at what stage they are in understanding circularity and so on, this will come through the development of the platform and through using the platform. We don't know the answer, and we are not purely academic project to do that. Yeah, ultimately, we want to help these people to do it on the job. So it happens, your learning happens on the job as well.
Okay, so those were all the questions that are currently in the chat. Perhaps we can give it just another moment to see if anyone else has a last minute question before we move on.
Yeah, I encourage you to ask any worries you might have, anything which might stop you from. You have us now. You are with us. If there's something which itches you, then let us know, and we maybe or hopefully can take away your worry. If waiting for any question, I would say in general, this instrument is not used often. It's often it's basically always then used when there is an issue which nobody is solving, A, and B, it's hard to solve. So this kind of project is rare to get because you will be able to work with cities together. You with the customer together. You're basically developing a novel project with the customer together, and it's an opportunity which is rare. But there are two questions now.
Yeah, so just taking the first one that just came in, for the 6 suppliers, the budget will be split equally during that phase?
There is a budget cap. So the total budget for phase 1 will be divided by the number of suppliers we would choose. It might be 6, it might be 5, it might whatever. We will have to decide with the specs, and then it will be divided exactly by this number, and this is your ceiling. And then you will provide us with an offer, which can, including a rebate you're giving us because it's R&D, shared R&D work, must be below that point. Yeah. So let's say if it's 100,000 your cap, then you can offer up to 100,000, and the reporting is basically giving us an invoice, and that's it.
And then we have a follow-up question to the user research question we had before. So the question is, how are you coming up with a spec for what you're aiming for? So is that through user research or some other process, and will this research be made available to the successful applicants?
It will be made public even, or at least to the largest degree. Yeah, we are currently writing one deliverable on the requirements. The work is quite extensive. We are doing a survey among procurers. The cities, Sabina, Lara were involved in focus groups with the different user groups, and we have done within the project with the cities together. Also lots of work with the help of RISE and Research Institute in Sweden. So it's well researched, I would claim. And yes, you will get access at least to the results.
Okay. Then we have another question in terms of the selection. So who will make the selection of the 6 initial partners?
The 6 initial suppliers will be picked by the procurers. The procurers are for formal reasons, not ReLondon, but ReLondon will be involved in the evaluation because ReLondon is part of the consortium, as we, Empirica, will be, but ultimately the voting will happen by the 7 official procurers, which is Istanbul, Sweden, Helsinki, and so on. You saw it on the first slide.
Okay, then we have an admin question in relation to the matchmaking service. Apparently JPEG is an unacceptable format for logos to upload.
That's very weird if it is so. Thank you for telling me. I will contact the responsible person immediately.
And then
in case, try to save it PNG and upload, but I will. Thanks for telling us such bugs. That's obvious. Nobody tests such stuff, and we should have done diligence on that. Yeah.
Okay, and then a clarification question in terms of the budget. So the total budget for the 6 or however many suppliers you select for phase 1 is 846k euros.
Yeah, I mean, this is still something we could shift. Yeah, if we are told, look, if you, I don't know, I'm making a crazy example. Yeah, so this 846 is, I don't know, around 150,000 per supplier. If we are told this is impossible for such an initial design, you need at least 300,000. And if we hear this across the board, then we might reconsider and maybe increase phase 1 a bit and obviously reduce successive phases a bit. But in principle, yes, 846 divided by 6 is your initial ceiling. 2.2 million divided by 4 is your initial ceiling for phase 2. And conversely, 1.25 million is your ceiling for phase 3.
Okay, I think technically we have 2 more minutes, so perhaps giving it just another moment to see if another question pops in.
On the budget, important thing to note, I don't know whether it's fully even reflected on anywhere in the slide. It is not formally finalized yet, but the lead procurer will be in Turkey, will be Istanbul, and Istanbul is capable to basically get a VAT exemption. So the numbers are provided we get this clearance, but we expect 99% yes. It is what you get. Yeah, there's no VAT deduction or whatever. It is really money directly to you. Yeah.
Okay, looks like no more questions are coming in, so I'm going to hand it over back to you, Sabina.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks so much, Laura and Georg. I think there's some really great questions in there. We had 15 minutes actually to do to allow circular economy experts to talk a bit about how they might be able to help potential developers with this project. Unfortunately, a few of them had to back out, but we do have Jose Geraldo from Oakdene Hollins with us today, who will be able to tell you a bit more about Oakdene Hollins. That means that there might be even some more time for a few more questions at the end, if we have some extra time. But I will turn it over to Jose. Jose, I've got your slides, so just let me know when you would like me to, to move on.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sabina, and hi to everyone. I think I'll try to be brief in presenting who we are at Oakdene Hollins and the kind of work we do, so you can see potentially if we're a good match for what you're intended to do on the development of the platform. And so we're Oakdene Hollins. We're a research and consulting company focused on circular economy and broader sustainability topics. And we're located in Aylesbury here in the UK, and we serve mainly UK clients, but also some European clients and Canadian. And can go ahead, Sabina. I guess what sets us apart in terms of circular economy is that we have almost 30 years of experience in this field. Oakdene Hollins was founded in 1994. Initially as a waste management and recycling consulting, and obviously as the subject kept evolving, it turned into a circular economy consultancy company, and we have caught on other sustainability work through that stream. So that is where our expertise lies. I guess the framework of how we portray our work is focused on value, material, and carbon as the three edges. And basically in value is where we deal with what we call value retention processes, where Sabina was referring us to the kind of strategies that you can use in circular solutions, right? Like reuse, recycle, repair, refurbish. And we have particular expertise in remanufacturing. Our founder and director is also the director of the European Remanufacturing Council, and we have quite a lot of expertise on the remanufacturing side of things. Then on material, basically is how we organize for serving different material streams that we work with, and that can be anything from tires to mattresses and upholstered furniture to cars, batteries, glass, and other kinds of materials that have lots of circular application potential, and we have expertise in each of those. And finally, carbon, and as I was mentioning, like as part of the sustainability agenda, we also help companies with their net zero strategies, and this is one of the I guess streams that feeds into the other ones, because reducing carbon and reducing our impact eventually leads to these kind of material efficiency and material rationalization strategies that are driven by the circular economy. And I guess all that is encompassed by what we call pioneering features, which is bringing that all together, how do you respond to the challenges of different companies and entities through those three axes, right? And the kind of clients that we have, and if we can go forward, Sabina, are basically we organize them on three verticals, which is industry, trade associations, and public sector. And obviously public sector is as the company was initiated 30 years ago, because back then regulation and waste management strategies were pretty much the focus of the public sector. But as we kept evolving, we have gotten a lot of industry clients, which with the ones we work today, especially on those kind of materials that I was mentioning. And we do have quite a big strength in trade association and industry bodies. We have a lot of experience in dealing with industry bodies and help them develop frameworks, develop toolkits, develop targets for the sector, and try to like bring sectors together and foster collaboration to enhance the circular solutions. We cover basically all the life cycle of the projects in terms of circular economy and sustainability, from baselining and what we call horizon scanning, all to strategizing, benchmarking, comparing what different companies in the industry are doing in terms of circular economy and sustainability, making an action plan and prioritizing. But we also work with our clients in the support and the implementation of said strategies, even getting up to like the project management of the implementation of circular strategies, going all the way through the communication process with different kind of stakeholders, be it internal stakeholders or industry or suppliers or whoever needs to be involved in this kind of projects. And yeah, basically the last bit of it is adapting, advancing, and future proofing, because every time we go through like these kind of cycles, the idea is to spot the new opportunities. If we move up in the I guess the value retention hierarchy, every time we do work with our clients, moving from recycling to remanufacturing to refurbishing, and eventually to reduce as much as possible the use of new resources. And yeah, I guess in short, things to have in mind for working with Oakdene Hollins is because we have plenty of experience in circular economy. We know that today there's a lot of expertise in the market, a lot of companies doing good things, but Oakdene Hollins has been working for a while and getting in the nitty-gritty of it. We have wide experience with both public and private sector clients, and experience across all the value retention processes that we mentioned. We have made projects for enabling circular solutions and carbon reductions through supply chain engagements. So the whole topic of procurement and supply chain is quite familiar to us, and we've been doing it recently with our private sector clients. And because we have in-house procurement expertise in this case, it's a couple of us, including me, we come from a background of procurement. So we understand when we're talking about this project, what the motivations are, what the implications are, not only for the procuring entities and professionals, but also for the suppliers and the wider, I guess, ecosystem in this case, which are the cities that the system serve. So yeah, we're in a very good place to help with this, and to get in touch. In the last slide of my video is our contact details, and we would be very happy to chat with anyone that's interested. Thank you very much, I guess, Sabina and ReLondon for the opportunity to speak to you. And yeah, we're very excited to see what comes out of the project.
Brilliant. Thanks so much, Jose. I hope that you get many emails, but please do also sign up to the matchmaking platform so people can also get in touch. I do see that a few questions did pop in as Jose was speaking, which is really good. So before I hand over the last kind of 5 minutes, if that's okay to Lara and Georg for any last minute questions, just if you had to take away just a few actions or just key points from today, if you're interested in being a supplier, please do sign up to the matchmaking platform, because that way you can find potential collaborators. If you're a city or another procurer or somebody who's interested in this potential platform being developed, there is a way for you to get involved test the potential solutions that come up. As you recall, there'll be potentially two available solutions on that will then be going on the market after the end of the project. And if you're just interested in keeping in touch of the progress of the project, please follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, on our website, etc. So the links are on the right. And that's it for me. So we've got another 5 minutes. And if it's okay, Laura and Georg, if you would like to help the audience by picking up their last minute questions, that would be amazing.
Sure. So just scanning the chat, I can't see any new questions. The main activity here was people thanking for the session, and then Georg shared the link for the FAQ website for the project, as well as the permalink for the Horizon Europe associated countries, if anyone is interested in accessing that information. And then, yeah, we had a clarification in terms of the data format for the matchmaker. So PNG works if anyone wants to upload their logo. They should do it in that format. But yeah, that's everything I can see in the chat.
Okay, brilliant. Well, thank you so much to the attendees for your time. We really appreciate you listening to us, and we really hope to see you as part of the project. Thank you so much to Georg for your support today and taking the time to answer everyone's questions, and to Lara for emceeing the questions, and to Jose as well for presenting a bit more about Oakdene Hollins.
Sabina, actually, there was just a question that popped in.
Brilliant.
So another clarification question in terms of the associated countries and who's eligible. So if we don't operate in the Horizon 20 countries, we can only spend 50% of the budget.
Yeah, the question is what you mean with 50. I mean, we can be a consortium. It can be a consortium of a UK company and, let's say, a Spanish company, or a UK company and a Spanish subcontractor, yeah, or subcontractors, plural. As a whole, you can spend the full budget, only that 50% of the time and resources so money, needs to be spent within the EU and associated countries. I don't know how to other translate it then. Yeah, you need to be at least two, let's put it this way. Yeah, you need subcontractors or partners to be then able to go to this. No, you wouldn't be even able to alone. You can't go at all. Let's put it this way, because it is impossible for you to go alone. Because if you go alone, then you are spending 100% of your budget within the EU. So by conclusion, you need to get someone. You need to partner up with someone with whom you share the budget for your proposal. Your proposal, your project needs to spend 50% of the resources in the EU. I mean, in this context, please, I know the situation is as it is, and I say for Empirica, it is a hit, not that it is harder to work with UK partners in a Horizon project. And my wife being British also, but all this doesn't matter. This is a problem we all have in common. You have very good ideas. You are progressive. Your UK is quite advanced, especially London. That's why we have them on board. Advanced in the field, so we want your input, we want your insight, and we want you to be on board somewhere in one way or the other. And through this mechanism, as long as you partner up, you're good. Yeah, it's easy.
Brilliant. Okay, well, thank you so much again. If you missed anything, this recording will be put on the PSP website, CircularPSP.eu, and there will be FAQs on the website there as well if you have any, and contact details if you have any further questions. So thanks again, everyone, and have a wonderful day.